Hello and welcome to another episode of the AstraZeneca Women in Tech series. I'm your host, Ben Bentham, and today I'm joined by Voula Gkatzidou from our commercial IT team based in Cambridge, UK. Voula, welcome to the episode. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks for having me. And I have to say this is such a treat because usually I'm the one that interviews people, so it's quite nice to be interviewed today.
Oh, brilliant. I didn't know that. I didn't know you sat in my seat before, so that's hopefully give you some tips. But it's great having you on, so thank you for coming on. And perhaps you can start with by sharing a bit about what you do, Voula, here at AstraZeneca, and about the team that you work in and lead.
Yeah, so I am a user experience researcher. I am based in the global UX team, user experience team we have in AstraZeneca. It's a fairly new team, about 5 years old. We live in commercial IT, but we work as an agency supporting the entire organization. So what UX is, I guess, I have to start with that. It's a scientific process all about gathering user insights from your end users and applying those to make sure that you're designing systems, processes, apps, interfaces that are first useful and fit for purpose, but they're also usable, they're easy to access, navigate, use, and they're also delightful and desirable for someone to use. So the work that we do kind of falls into two buckets. We do research, which is all about gathering requirements from your users, and those users could be anybody from patients to colleagues to doctors to nurses and so on, and transforming them into a design and what that looks like, if that's if that's the most simplest way of explaining it.
Brilliant. That's really good, and for someone that doesn't know much about UX, that's really useful. And I guess what's the most enjoyable bit about what you do then within the UX world?
So I'm quite research heavy. My background is quite research and quite academic research, so I enjoy that part. And the most enjoyable part for me is what you're doing right now, just talking to people and trying to figure out what to ask them, how to get answers from them in terms of what they want, in terms of perceptions of a product, in terms of expectations, in terms of try and go a bit deeper in terms of how they assign meaning to things and interactions. So talking to people by far is the most challenging and also the most rewarding part of what I do.
Great, that's really interesting. So and you might have alluded to this already, but what kind of skills do you need to be good at user experience?
Okay, so yeah, it's a good question. So how does one become a user experience practitioner? UX is sort of a melting pot of disciplines. So in our team, we have people with computer science background, with psychology background, with sort of anthropology, social sciences, product design, industrial design, that kind of thing. So you can have a traditional kind of UX background. There are courses now that you can follow and do that, but most of us have started from another discipline and then really enjoyed the aspect of people and how we can study how people interact with things, and we found ourselves in UX that way.
Okay, that's really interesting. So I guess the communication side of things though is quite important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. And so growing up then, did you always know that you wanted to be in technology or even UX? Is it something that you I guess just growing up naturally in school that you thought technology is where I want to be, or was it as a different kind of career path for you?
No, absolutely not. I wanted to be an actress growing up, a theatre actress. It was very specific as to my platform. And then, I am Greek, so I was in Greece, and culturally, Greece is a country where we value academic achievements, and we like being intellectual, we like creativity, we like innovation. So that's kind of instilled in you growing up. So being a byproduct of that environment, I decided to study computer science, mostly because people were telling me that this is what the future is. And I could see some creativity in computer science. I know it sounds a bit weird, but I could see how there is creativity in coding and programming. You take something and you make something happen out of nothing. So I thought that perhaps this would be a good platform for me to kind of explore how to make it my own, and how can make tech fit more my values and what I wanted to do in life. So I came in the UK to study computer science. I walked into a lecture hall of 100 men in computer networks, and I thought, this probably is the big mistake. But throughout my studies, it became apparent that there is another side to tech that involves people and involves that human element of creation, and there is a place to kind of pour your creativity if you are that kind of person, and that's what matters to you. So then I followed the route of more kind of human computer interaction, studying that field, getting a bit more creative with web design, and and then I found my way. I did my master's, and then I did my PhD. So that's kind of like my educational story.
Great. And you mentioned then about walking into a lecture theatre of 100 men. What was that like for you then? It must be quite daunting.
To be fair, it wasn't the imbalance of men and women that was daunting. It was the actual computer networks that felt like something where, I don't know, it just felt like something where things were black or white, and there was no shade of grey there, and there was no way to kind of put your stamp on things and add your flair as a person into things. So it was mostly that. And then I thought maybe there's more men here because maybe they're more comfortable with that kind of that scientific kind of notion of, I've got a hypothesis, I have to prove the hypothesis, something either works or it doesn't work. That's how I interpreted it in my head at the time.
Yeah, okay, great. And I hope you don't want me sharing this, but you once failed an open book exam at university. Yeah, you then went on to gain a PhD in computer science, which is, I think for many people, a PhD is the absolute elite in terms of academia. Are you someone that takes strength from setbacks and failures?
I mean, absolutely. At the time, I was very angry with myself, and I thought it was such an embarrassing thing of like, how can one fail an open book exam? Like, you must be so completely removed from the, that particular module. But then, I don't know, I think everyone has failures. In whichever field you are, everyone will have stories of failure. And I guess the only thing you can do is kind of lean into those failures and kind of, once you pass that stage of annoyance and anger, you kind of lean into them and you kind of see why you failed and what you can learn from that failure. And I know it sounds cliche, but I think the older you get, the more you can deal with failure better and get more determined to improve yourself because of that failure.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. I think, you're right, that the sooner that anyone can look at failure as a learning point rather than I guess a setback or take it too personally, I think that's when you really start to improve, because you see it as, this is just making me stronger. I know that the approach I've maybe taken hasn't worked. I'm going to apply that in a different way going forwards. But yeah, I remember growing up and failure is almost a disastrous thing. Like, it does set you back, and almost mentally you go backwards, whereas I guess the strongest people use it as fuel to then go on further. So that's a really good point.
Yeah, but also as a society, that's what we learn to do, isn't it? We learn to kind of, not talk about our failures and hide it in the back of our heads and not really, it's like the whole educational system is based on the fact that you shouldn't fail, you should pass. So, that's how we program, and it takes a while to kind of reframe that.
Exactly. So Voula, you've had a successful career today. Academically superior. What advice could you give to other women maybe going through kind of academia now on their potential options they can do in terms of their career choices within technology? What advice could you give?
I would probably say that the most useful advice I had was once told me that you just have to keep learning and keep enjoying what you do, because for someone who is in the 30s now, they're going to have at least another 30-40 years of working in some capacity, so they need to be able to enjoy what they do. I would also say that sometimes, you know, careers and career progression these days is not just like a linear predicted kind of ladder. There's lots of squiggles, and you know, take those opportunities if you're given them, and if they don't work out, it's fine. You've learned something. It makes you stronger, and it makes the fact that your next choice will be better and more informed. So I would probably say just keep learning and keep seeking opportunities to kind of get out of your comfort zone a little bit more with every position that you get. And tech is an amazing field when it comes to opportunities, because there's so many. It's an amazing platform to kind of do lots of different things. You can go really kind of tech programming, kind of building things. You can be a bit more creative. You know, there's lots of leadership opportunities. So tech is a place where if you get into it, you probably won't come out. You'll just grow within it.
Excellent. That's really good feedback. And on to my last question. And this whole series has been set up to do what we can to really promote more women in tech. But Voula, what more do you think we could be doing as a society to really support greater female representation across technology?
I mean, I think, you know, things like what you do, you know, kind of shining a light on women who are currently working in IT and building and changing tech. Things like that are very useful for the younger generations. I think we've done loads so far. I don't think the gender gap is as big as it used to be, and the perception's slightly changing, especially with the pandemic. I know the fact that, you know, the intersection of medicine and science together has kind of like bailed us out, or trying to bail us out of this pandemic. This surely must be quite inspirational for younger girls looking into career options. So I would just keep saying, keep doing that, keep trying to kind of raise awareness of all the women that do amazing things in tech. And also that, on the other hand, I think we should be doing more to support the women who are already in tech to progress in their careers and find their voice and make an impact. So it's kind of like a two sides of that coin.
Excellent. All right, thank you. And that brings us on to the end of the episode. So Voula, thank you so much for coming on and being the other side of the interview process. So it's been brilliant. You've been giving some fantastic answers as well. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Great. And to the viewers, thanks for watching again. If you've enjoyed the session, please let us know what you think, and feel free to share with your network. And if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the series for all the latest episodes. But in the meantime, please do take care, and we'll see you in a few weeks. Bye-bye.